All right, a little outline. First, I'll introduce effective giving broadly. And so this is charitable giving that thinks about how we can have the most impact. And there's a video on that I find really helpful. And so we'll start with that. And then Q&A informal, if people have any thoughts, impressions from that video, we can explore those. There was also an article sent out, and if people had any questions from that. And then after that, Declan will present on our plasma donation drive and share some more logistics about this idea of how we actually make money as broke college students to donate, since that not all of us have hard to have an expendable income at this age. And then after that, we will have another bit more of a discussion style and kind of social mingle if people are up for it. And then afterwards at another organizer, Sean's place, he's having like a vegan dinner at his place. And anyone who has time is more than welcome to come. Some people cooked some stuff. That should be really fun to relax. People want to come, but no pressure if your Friday night has other plans. Okay, so to the
most of us believe that it's important to help others. We value the lives of others and we care about their well-being. When we care so much, it can be overwhelming to see so many pressing problems in the world. Around 1 in 10 people live in extreme poverty. 6 million children die yearly of easily preventable diseases. A third of women have suffered from sexual or physical violence. Bacteria are becoming antibiotic resistant. Partisanship is increasing and democracy may be in decline. Climate change is set to wreak havoc on the environment and hurt the economy. Our food systems cause suffering to hundreds of billions of animals. I could go on. In the face of so many problems, it's really easy to feel like we can't make a real difference. But fortunately, we can. We have an amazing opportunity to significantly improve the world with the resources we have, if we use them effectively. However, a lot of people don't think much about how charities compare to each other. Only about a third of people do any research before giving to charity, and only 3% based on what they actually accomplish. This is probably because it's a common assumption that a really good charity might only do a little bit more good than average. But it turns out the difference is much more dramatic. The best charities can be at least 10 times better than a typical charity within the same area, or hundreds of times better than poor performing charities. Some charities even actively harm those they seek to help. These huge differences don't tend to come from trivial things like administrative costs. Instead, they almost always come from the kinds of interventions the charities pursue. To make this more concrete, we will look at some numbers from the World Bank on interventions working on waterborne illnesses. Sanitation is very important. It's not something we think about that much in rich countries, but waterborne illnesses kill more than 3 million people each year, mostly children. Let's see how many years of healthy life different water-related interventions get us for $1,000 US. Providing piped water and flushing toilets give us roughly 6 months of healthy life. $1,000 for 6 months of healthy life seems like a fantastic deal. However, it turns out that giving people chlorine to disinfect their water is about 10 times more effective. And it doesn't stop there. Giving sick kids zinc with their electrolyte salts can result in an extra 33 years of healthy life for the same $1,000. But if we broaden our search to the treatment of any disease within low-income countries, the differences are even more incredible. The World Bank's best guess is 200 years of life per $1,000 spent treating and preventing malaria. If we go on to compare this to high-income countries, where we will often be willing to spend $1,000 for a week of healthy life gained through new cancer drugs, the difference is even greater. Of course, funding sanitation programs and cancer drugs are really important and well worth spending money on. This only serves to emphasize the incredible opportunity funding malaria prevention represents. And it is critical that we act on these opportunities because people's lives are on the line. Each one of those little heart icons represented a year of life of a human being unlike any other. They have a best friend. They have a favorite song. They have plans, hopes, and desires. That's what the statistics represent. That's why we're so worked up about the numbers. We've covered why we give more effectively, but why also give more. On the Giving What We Can website, you can use the How Rich Am I calculator to see how you compare to the world. For example, a median post-tax income for a person.
We'll keep watching, but I'll flag that this is a bit more, it talks a little bit more about like lifetime donation pledges, which is a little bit less relevant to what we are talking about in this plasma drive, but oh man, come on. Yeah.
Most of us believe that it's important, but by working a regular job, could have if they the world earns. See how you compare to the world. For example, a median post-tax income for a person in the US is around $40,000. That's over 14 times more than a typical person in the world earns. This means that just by living in a high-income country, most of us have an incredible opportunity to use our money to make a difference. Here's the impact a typical American could have if they donated 10% of that income to the best charities in global health. Over the course of their career, they could expect to save many people's lives, all while remaining in the top richest 3% of people in the world. Most of us don't expect to save lives during the course of our workday. But by working a regular job and donating a portion of our income to effective charities, we can expect that our donations will save lives. Members of our community have turned their care into commitment by pledging to use their income to help improve the lives of others. Since 2009, we have grown to more than 5,000 members, over $200 million donated, and over $1.9 billion pledged. The most popular pledge is 10% of lifetime income, but many people also make shorter and smaller commitments, and some make much bigger commitments. We find that taking a public pledge helps inspire others to follow suit. Together, we can forge a world in which giving effectively and significantly is a common practice. So, if you're someone who wants to use your current or future wealth to make the world a much better place, we applaud you, welcome you, and we're excited to see the impact you'll have. To learn more about effective giving, I encourage you to check out the Giving What We Can website at givingwhatwecan.org, where there's information on our giving recommendations, pledges, and tools like our How Rich Am I calculator. To learn more about effective altruism and the other ways to make our limited resources do the most good, check out effectivealtruism.org.
Thank you, Mira. Okay. Yeah, that was a brief overlook on effective giving, kind of hopefully contextualized what we're talking about today and why we think it's important. That's great. Yeah, one thing that stands out to me there and that I kind of want to have as a common theme throughout this whole presentation is this idea of like, that's why we take the number so seriously. You know, it's like when we're talking about 10% or the differences in effectiveness of like 10 to 100 times between different charities, like there's nothing in and of itself of those like differences that's super exciting, but it's like when you measure that in the currency of like human lives and like experiences improved and like best friends and mothers and parents, that is what motivates us or motivates me, and hopefully we can kind of find that's what's behind these numbers and behind our like strong urge to do it as best as we can. I'll really quickly flag givewell.org. They are the charity evaluator that does a lot of this research for us, kind of takes the burden off of us to look into charities and what they work on and how they're doing and how their administrative is structured, and really recommends the key kind of best opportunities. And those are the charities that we are kind of orientating the money that we get from this plasma drive towards, and we'll discuss more about the end. But this is kind of like, I think, a good follow-up to that video of like, there's an organization out there that does this stuff and thinks about this stuff. It can be a nice resource to share. Before Declan talks about the plasma drive more, does anyone have any like questions or impressions? If not, we'll take it away. Yes, Lenny, did you raise your hand?
Why is it that most of the charities will tend to be places not in like the US?
No, that's kind of like the theme of like your dollar goes farther overseas. And it really has to do with like the income level that people are doing, that living off of. And there's some research that shows doubling someone's income is like, it doesn't change what the income level is, like the increase in happiness is the same. So if someone is earning $50,000 a year, you double their income, there's like some marginal gain in happiness that's been measured through research. But that gain is pretty similar if someone's living off of $1,000 a year and you double their income for a year. And so that kind of goes to show that it's so much easier to double someone's income when they're working 1,000 making $1,000 a year. And so, yeah, it's just in poor communities in global poverty, when people are living off $2 a day, there's an enormous opportunity to help people a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, hello. My name is Declan. I'm not an organizer of Effective Altruism. I'm just a guy who's part of the organization and happens to be invested and interested in plasma donation. So as Michal kind of introduced to us, we want to be able to do effective altruism stuff too, but a lot of the time we can't, us being young students, because we don't have time, or we don't have any useful skills or education, or we don't have the money to do it. But we can find a way around that. And that's this. That is the Plasma Drive project. So this is something that a lot of us can do, and that is bleed for the cause, not for money, not for the Red Cross to give people our blood, but to make money for ourselves. Ourselves, I say, but to donate. So there's a couple places where you can bleed, you can donate plasma in Madison, where they will pay you to do so. They'll give you a compensation for it. And those are Interstate Blood and Plasma and Biolife Plasma Services. So today we're talking about Biolife Plasma Services, mostly because they pay more and they are easier to organize because they have a fixed schedule for donations. But Interstate is a good bit closer. So those are the things. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the benefits of donating, the logistics, some things that can inhibit you from donating, and why to go to these places, why it's more effective to go to these places instead of the Red Cross, just as sort of a case example of what Michal was talking about, orders of magnitude of efficiency. So first, let's start with the benefits and drawbacks. The most obvious thing is money to donate effectively that you earn from this. And how much money, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the big number here is you can earn $1,200 in your first 8 visits, which you can do in 4 weeks. And then after that, you earn $125 for 2 visits around at these for-profit plasma donation places. So that's $93 an hour for your first 4 weeks, for your first 8 visits, which can be done in 4 weeks, and $42 an hour after that, which is insane. Like that is, there's no practical jobs that students our age could get that pay anywhere close to this well. So other benefits are, there's presumably some benefit for the people who receive the plasma, though that's not what we're focusing on. You also can get free basic medical tests, and I may or may not bake you cookies. And so let's also focus on the drawbacks for some time here. So big thing is it takes some time, about 3 hours for your first visit and 1 to 2 hours for every visit after that. And about an average of 1 hour and 20 minutes for me. I've got it down to 55 minutes at sometimes, but that should be about 1 to 2 hours. 2 hours max should be expected. And a couple things, obviously you're donating blood, or it's the same process as donating blood. You have, they have to insert a needle in your arm. So it hurts somewhat for some people sometimes, but most people, it's really not that bad. And if you go super often and you're very light, you could start to feel a bit dry. That's also very, very rare. I don't really, it's very unlikely from donating plasma, because it's not the same process as donating blood, that there would be any noticeable health consequences. But if you go very often, it is a potential that you could start to feel dry. Let's go over the logistics of donating plasma at Biolife Plasma Services. The main thing is you can go twice a week. And as I said, it takes 3 to 4 hours for your first appointment and 1 to 2 hours for every appointment after that, plus the time it takes to drive there. You make appointments ahead of time on their website. And but we have several rideshare times that we've organized. So we can take people, we can drive people there to donate at the same time in groups. So we'll provide more details for that at the end. Let's see. They're open Tuesday to Friday at 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on the weekends, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And go over the compensation rates again, about $150 per visit for your first 8 visits and 50 to 75 after that. and the items that you need to bring on your first visit. So you only need to bring these things in your first visit and nothing after that. You just show up, make your appointment and show up. So those things are a proof of address document, which can be literally any mail that's from the last few months. You need to bring an ID, like a driver's license, passport, state ID. And then the important thing is your social security card or a picture of your social security card or an official form with your social security number on it, like a W-2. And I'll share all these slides afterwards so you can come and check all this data later. But I think this point for the social security card is worth focusing on because you might be wondering, why do you need that if you're just donating blood? And that's because they give you a debit card there. And to set that up for you, since it's a financial matter, they need to have your social security number to do that. However, note that you cannot just tell them your social security number. You need to have some official document or a picture or your physical card to be able to set that up with them. Okay. And one last note is when you go, the main health advice that they always give is drink plenty of water because that helps your blood flow better. It can make the process faster. Okay, and here's just a very similar list of things with slight differences for how interstate blood and plasma works, but we're not going to focus on that right now. So let's talk about the inhibitors of donating plasma. So you can find a full list of disqualifying factors for Biolife plasma services on their website. And if you've ever gone to donate blood at the Red Cross, they're the same. But let's just go over some of the most common ones, just in case. One of them is you can't have had a tattoo in the last year. For men, you cannot ever have had sex with another man, or for women, you can't have sex with a man who has had sex with a man. It does not chain any further than that, though. And that's about all I feel like the need to say on that. That's just old federal laws that a blanket denial policy they have for this. Other things is you cannot have had very rare disease, some various rare diseases like mad cow disease, HIV, or Chagas disease. Certain medications might disqualify you, and certain hormones or certain acne treatment might. They will check every medication you would list for them. One other thing is high-low blood pressure, but the ranges are so massive, pretty much anyone will be fine. Let's see. So having donated whole blood in the last 56 days, say at the Red Cross, they will not allow you to donate there. However, platelets or plasma are completely fine if you are someone who goes to the Red Cross regularly. One other thing, you have to be 18 and you have to weigh more than 110 pounds. That's an important criteria. And one other thing for interstate, just a note of when you should try to come if you go there. So I want to just briefly address the question of why go here instead of going to the Red Cross. And for this question, I prepared a graphic. Here we are. So as you can see, here we have the Red Cross, and here we have the big, strong Biolife plasma services. And a few notes here, the Red Cross just provides blood for first world citizens who are more capable of caring for themselves who are more capable of providing for themselves with more financial security and such. You can donate blood at the Red Cross every 56 days, platelets every 7, and plasma every 28 days. And these facts compared to interstate blood and plasma, you can donate twice a week. And at interstate, if you donate money, you donate money to third world countries where it can go much farther and be more effective. Let's see, the Red Cross has the same regulated redundant process every time, whereas places like this, Biolife Plasma Services, keeps medical records for you, so there's less redundant questions. The Red Cross typically won't let you hold stuff while you donate, whereas Biolife Plasma Services does not care. Your impact is entirely yours at Biolife Plasma Services, and at the Red Cross, it also costs them money. And just a quick note, if you're wondering how much money, it costs the Red Cross about $290 of expenses to process each donation. And you give it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, so why does the Red Cross have like such long time spans until you can get like blood platelets?
So yeah, that's a great question. The Red Cross is a nonprofit organization, and they just tend to take more care, whereas places like Biolife Plasma Services are entirely profit oriented. So although it's theoretically safe for something like Biolife, for any person to donate plasma twice a week, as they allow here at Biolife, the Red Cross, my assumption is just chooses not to take that risk. That is my assumption, and I do not know any other real reason. But that's the thing. Just on the off chance it could be important for them. So here's another just quick comparison of the Red Cross and places like this. I have Interstate Blood and Plasma here, but so if you were to go for a year to each place, at the Red Cross, you donate a fair amount of blood, at like 6.5 units of blood and 52 to 104 units of platelets, depending on your weight. It would cost you a few hundred hours, and it would cost the Red Cross to process all of that more than $17,000. And at Interstate, you could raise with the same amount of, if going there as much as you could, you can raise $6,500 or $7,100 if this is your first year. That takes you significantly less time, and it also takes some time for the interstate companies. So you might be asking now, where would we donate the proceeds for this? And I'm glad you did ask, because we prepared a few. I don't, if you're aware, the Effective Altruists of UW Madison have prepared a few fundraisers for some of the most effective charities we were talking about before, and that's SCI, Against Malaria Foundation, and Give Directly, some Give Well recommended charities. So again, you can access these slides later if you want to check out these things. So let's just go over these one by one and what you could do if you donate plasma for your first 8 times donating plasma, what you could do with that money if donated to each of these charities. So first we'll talk about SCI here. With donating plasma 8 times, with that money you raise, you could treat over 1,000 kids for dangerous diseases like worm infections and increase the lifetime earning by $11,000, which is a great investment for your money. Against Malaria Foundation, with that money, you can provide 202 life-saving bug nets, each of which has the potential to save a life and lets people rest easy, sleep easy. And then at Give Directly, with that money, you could provide a whole family, with more than their yearly household income. Just with these 8 times you donate, that will take you something like less than 20 hours, like 12 to 15. So that's pretty insane. That's a pretty good value, I'd say. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have here. One note that I want to add on is that if I'm not in a position where I still have to pay rent or tuition, but obviously you are, if you are, that comes first. So take care of your own boat. And one other note is there are many very personal reasons why anyone could be disqualified from donating. So there's no reason to explain if anyone chooses not to. So yeah, just if anyone has any questions here, I'll just go on to this next slide. We have a couple QR codes where you can view these slides and this one to join the Plasma Drive Slack channel. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. What's up? Whole blood is a regular blood donation. So just the standard thing. Yep. Yeah. Plasma is just one component. Plasma and platelets are components of blood, and whole blood is the. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like plasma is like part of blood. How would exactly take the plasma?
Yeah. So they'll take it's the same process as regularly giving blood, in that there is one needle coming from your one arm, and it goes into a machine which will spin it to separate the plasma from the rest of the blood components. And then they will return those blood components to you, so you won't feel lightheaded or anything from that, and put the plasma into a separate container, which they will take. Yeah.
For the charities, are you donate based on or is it just a general donation?
Yeah, for these fundraisers, it will go to the charities and they will decide where it could be best allocated.
You can look, I don't know where the best place is, probably Give Directly, there's more detail on the charity.
Yeah.
Some of them do operate in specific countries. Actually, most of them do.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you can. So while you donate, you'll for about 2/3 of the time while you're on the machine, the other third's about spent on paperwork typically. And during that time, yeah, you have a hand free. You can read, do your homework, play on your phone, listen to anything you want. And so if you count that as something you would be doing anyway, that really like very little of the time is actually spent doing stuff that you maybe wouldn't be doing anyway for that. So yeah, that kind of further decreases the time commitment in my eyes. Okay, well, I can answer any questions here as we keep on going, but I think I'm gonna break the formalities. And I have a laptop set up in the back to sign up anyone who wants. Also, if you go to scan these slides and go to the next page, here we have several links where you can view our Google Calendar with our rideshare times, the Slack channel for this, another info doc, and the link to Biolife Plasma Services website and their mobile app to sign up for appointments. Yeah, this is right here. Just scan this QR code to get into the slides, and then you can view all those links. But yeah, what's up?
Can I donate my money to the fundraiser, even if I'm not qualified to do one?
Now that would be a question for Michal.
Yes.
Let's see why not.
The case of one. Sharing it online. Also, feel free to, we'll put out some content, and this is obviously no obligation attached to this, but stuff like post on a story or something like that, that can make a big difference. I'm putting the word, but zero obligations. And that goes for all the thing. I want to emphasize the point again that Declan made, like, yeah, kind of with their given their excluding criteria, there's personal reasons to choose not to go. There's no obligation. We realize that, yeah, and they're different, but this is just like an awesome opportunity. I went on a few days ago, was it yesterday? I'm losing track. And it was like kind of surreal to imagine like what was a slight inconvenience to my morning was like a good portion of like a family's yearly income. And that's like a pretty wild thought. So I'm excited about this. And I think if we throw together our money, I think we have like 560 so far in the fundraiser. Some of the statistics are like at $3,000 to save a life for like $12. So yeah, cool. Appreciate you all for being here.
Yeah. So yeah, we can help people organize like rideshare times now for anyone who's interested in setting up for this and help people sign up for that if anyone wants to do that right now. So I think I'll break the formality thing.
Just I'll say one last thing too.
Yeah.
For the fundraisers we have set up, our goal is 12,000 by the end of the semester, which I think is very doable if some of us kind of do the 8 times the first day. That would be awesome. That would be one. That would be a really cool thing. Yeah. Yeah, Chad, just feel free to scan the QR code, jump in any questions.
Yeah. And we also have a couple other slides, like if you want to check out the interstate facts, or if you wanted to check my sources for some of the statistics about the Red Cross. We have this in the presentation as well. If you want to scan the QR code and